Decided to head for the 7th stratum. Should keep going towards the 7th stratum. The Book of Heavens might just be there.
But
I like to keep going. Just discovered my own raison d'etre, so I believe we should keep pressing on.
very well. If that is your decision, I will abide by it.
With Raziel's consent, began searching for the gates leading to the 7th stratum. Found it. The search took roughly an hour. The place in question ended up being a second-hand bookshop in the depths of the book town, specifically a certain shelf. One of his books comes stuffed, outfitted with a doorknob. After analysis, we detected traces of magic in it.
Not your everyday door. That is for certain. But it does not seem like it is our gate to the 7th stratum.
Raziel came to that conclusion after connecting her tablet PC. Still, to have a doorknob attached to the spine of a book. It's quite the unusual sight, we both agreed. Either way, before us lay the uncharted territory, the 7th stratum, the summit of Tokyo Babel, the closest place to heaven. Would the master await us inside? Or something even more powerful? Did Jacob's ladder truly exist? Will we find it inside? All will be answered once we open this door. Which gave me all the more reason to be hesitant. What would await us beyond this gate? Would the pilgrimage come to an end? I find myself wrestling with a complex array of feelings. Hope and dread, curiosity and despair. I had decided to press on, no matter how foolish that might seem. Let's go. Using both our gold and silver keys, we pushed the gate open, step inside, and had our breaths taken away.
This place.
What was this place? A stagnant, slime-like substance covered the hallway at all angles. Creeping, whirling, slithering. Its texture wasn't pure, unified black, instead containing spots of white here and there that only served to highlight its chaotic, mismatched repulsiveness. Took a step forward, believed I at least had firm ground to stand on. What in the world are we looking at?
I wish I knew.
Color drained from Raziel's cheeks, possibly from fear. The tunnel stretched out before us like a tube, leading to the exit on its far end. I had no choice but to hope that we would remain untouched by the black, slimy substance. We began to advance through the tunnel, our hearts gripped by an oppressive feeling of isolation the moment the door of the 6th stratum closed behind us.
I'm scared.
Raziel took my hand as I did my best to remain composed, all the while trying to find the origins of the dread, the feeling of isolation that overcame us. A voice? Slight tremor shook the entirety of the tunnel, the kind one experiences when a train approaches from a distance. At first, I didn't notice. Then I decided to ignore it. Finally, I realized that would be impossible. The entire tunnel quaked at the multitude of voices that echoed within its microcosm. You knew the voice.
Hallelujah. 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 We who are in heaven. Amen. Amen. Amen.
The chorus, all too fitting for the black ooze, reverberated all around us. Its echo spilling forth to extol God, to revere his angels and all the saints. The sung only by one or two might very well have been a soothing melody. Yet the voices were beyond count, defying identification. Did they belong to men or those who once lived as such? Was the chorus sung by angels or beings outside their celestial realm? Raziel, overcome by nausea, then had to cover her mouth. I too felt a certain feeling welling up in my chest. A sickly sweet discomfort akin to the lingering scent of vanilla extract. Holy words sung to praise God, to extol his angels and saints. A chorus of joy chanted like a wicked curse.
Praise be to God. Praise be to heaven. Blessed be this joy. Blessed be this happiness.
It started to make me feel queasy. Indeed, God could very well have been a being worthy of praise. But there is no God here anymore. Angels and demons alike endured countless hardships. Yet, despite the severity of the situation, this amalgamation of voices, this mass of black slime continued to lose itself in its sacred chorus, ignoring the world's crisis. I couldn't help but find that detestable, mind teetering on the brink of collapse, crushed beneath this echo of their joyous ode.
I'm not even gonna try and sing that.
No, try it, come on. It's your chance to sing. Pretty good, it matches the melody.
I tried.
I'm so happy. So very happy. Come, let us embrace it together.
Her voice found its way into my mind, its echo filling my ears only when I wanted to hear it the least. Naru, shut the hell up. Stop talking.
I'm so very happy right now. People all dread loneliness, and that is precisely why they seek companionship, why they ignite the flames of conflict. I once thought the unification of mankind's will would lead to a better tomorrow, but that was a mistake. I should have considered the opposite, to become a being that can achieve perfection on its own, to consume, dream, and build one's own world individually, free from others. At that point, even proclaiming one's reason d'etre becomes pointless. All that remains then is to attain happiness, to claim your own desires.
I've been telling you to shut the hell up. I'm begging you. Enough! An illusion began to unfold before my eyes. Her smile showered in light, warm like an angel's. The more I denounced it as terrifying, I realized a part of me was being fulfilled. That fact alone stirred the waves of despair within my heart. I beheld my mother's face, nostalgic and brimming with kindness. The same mother I personally buried back in the world. Yet there she stood, right before me. Tendu Naru, the one who painted my life anew. And what of it?
Setsuna, my happiness lies with yours.
The only response to her excessively kind tongue yielded from me was nausea. Shut up! The voice died in an instant, along with the grating pain violating my mind. I gave Raziel's hand a confident squeeze and launched into a sprint. Run, run, run as fast as you can!
Setsuna!
Hold on tight! The roughness of my own tone left me in surprise as I continued to rush down the hallway. Pushed the door open in one hand and stormed outside, then used all the strength I had left to shut it behind me. Its faint whispers of the voices from within still reached my ear. I decided to put some distance between me and the gate.
Setsuna, wait! Hold up!
With great effort, I managed to force myself to a halt. I turned to face Raziel, ready to hear her out. She looked just as exhausted as I did.
We're safe. I can't hear the voices anymore.
I made a conscious effort to listen. All that greeted me was silence. The repulsive echo of those whispers had all but died down.
Tell me, what did you see back in that tunnel?
The mother once had. A wave of sadness washed over Raziel's expression. She did know about my past, after all.
I see.
What did you see?
I didn't see anything. All I heard were whispers. That chorus.
The word made me grimace. Raziel, so what in the world was that back there?
I have no idea.
She hung her head, preventing me from reading her expression. See, that is something we need to dwell on at the moment. Kept my gaze skyward. looking at the multitude of buildings, tall enough to pierce through the clouds. I've seen them before. The Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building, so-called Tower Bubble, not Babel, received its nickname because it was built in the middle of an economic bubble. Its presence meant that the 7th stratum was Shinjuku. A district unifying the labor of man with the achievements of science, a place where heaven and hell could coexist.
What happened here?
Raziel found herself at a loss for words, or rather, she was taken in her surroundings in complete awe, when I could sense the sheer miasma-like density of magical flow in the area. In a word, it felt abnormal.
This is like hell.
Raziel's assessment felt apt enough. I, too, had once been to a place where the atmosphere not entirely unlike the current Shinjuku, my former world. What we witnessed here resembled the final days of my apocalypse-stricken homeworld. The sky is covered by a sinister gloom that could be called neither day nor night. I expected a cold breeze to brush against my cheeks. Instead, it was greeted by an air tepid enough to make my clothes sticky with sweat. I began a search of the area.
Is this truly the place closest to heaven?
It should be. I don't blame you for wanting to believe otherwise, though. Raziel began to suspect it too. The one thing I myself had feared from the day I arrived here. The angels were exiled from heaven, the demons from hell. Hell was submerged in water, but what exactly happened to heaven? Was it still the paradise it had always been? The answer was no. Uriel said so himself. Heaven had changed. No one knows what became of it in the wake of God's wrath. Well, maybe not quite no one. Raziel.
Yes?
She fidgeted in place, seemingly cold despite the warm breeze. With a few questions about heaven.
What questions?
Raziel's tone had a noticeable sternness to it. Though she couldn't say it out loud, she was clearly in no mood to breach the subject. God is in heaven, among a number of his chosen angels. Is that right?
I believe so.
The heaven is in ruins. Just think back to Uriel.
You're wrong.
Raziel, I understand how you feel, but
You're wrong. Heaven is safe. There's no way our very own homeland could be destroyed.
we'll find out soon enough. Raziel and I set out to make our way across Shinjuku, aiming for the college of skyscrapers in the distance. Flying through the air would have shortened the journey considerably, but the potential presence of a mass in the area forced us to be exceedingly careful. So we proceeded on foot. Though physical exhaustion did not prove to be a problem, the mental strain of the journey was tremendous. To further expand that blank region in my mind, I was still fine. I could still make it. At this point, I erased all my connections to Tendu Naru. It's just a name of mine, nothing more. Another entry out of many. That was for the best, especially considering what I had to experience just a short while ago.
Setsuna, are you alright?
Raziel's breathing grew ragged, her gaze somewhat vacant. Don't concern yourself with me. I'm more worried about you, Raziel. How are you holding up? Is mental contamination affecting you at all? It just leveled a terrifying question at Raziel.
I'm fine.
Raziel's response was firm and proud, despite her tone suggesting a thoroughly exhausted mind. I need to stay strong for just a while longer. I'm always at its limit, a raging sea of love, affection, and happiness twisting its landscape. We continue to make our way through the deserted streets of this hellish Shinjuku, visually confirming in my mind's quarantine zone, witnessing the chaos and turbulent feelings invading my once ordered heart. It's not contempt nor envy or deep-rooted malice. I found there was virtue, bliss, and affection deep as the vast seas. In short, happiness itself. As I beheld, though, I saw no trace of beauty. The feelings I harbored towards Raziel, even Sorami and Lilith, glittered within me like the brightest jewels I had ever seen. But I found that blank region in my mind was something entirely different, a destructive, voracious sort of love, starving for fulfillment. Friendship stirring men to slay one another. Blessing one whispers before strangling the other's neck. The brimming smile of one who's shed their own blood. Others would mingle and birth chaos, would strive to endure hatred to love, to stand up to malice with steeled determination. Yet my true feelings sang a different tune. Could not prevail against blissful joy. Love would send me to my knees in defeat. Because every living being yearned for it, we all found ourselves aching for its melody.
Cristina,
Raziel spoke up behind me.
suppose what you said is right, that heaven has fallen to ruin. If that truly were the case, then what am I to believe in?
Me. Believe in me. I drew her closer to me, embracing her. You know I should detest love in its cruel chorus. Couldn't help but yearn for Raziel. Damn it. What could we believe in? I no answer to that either. A warm, content smile creeped into Raziel's lips in my embrace. It lasted only for a moment, before giving way to anxiety.
In this world, the more you embrace love, the easier it becomes for madness to invade your heart.
It does seem that way.
I do not love you.
I don't love you either. A little white lie. Kind children would produce. We repeat the phrase over and over, denying our feelings, yet in reality, our heads parts bled with every new word uttered. The closer we got to our destination, the more restless I had become, since the overwhelming amount of magical energy concentrated here. This love was naturally focused in Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building, the largest structure located here in Shinjuku. A torrent of magic surrounding the building raged on like a fierce tornado, the sheer purity of its energies, creating a protective barrier of all sorts. At this rate, entry would become virtually impossible. From that aside, though, and yet another severe issue to deal with. During our journey here, we observed our surroundings with unfaltering vigilance. Despite an ever-advancing mental contamination, our combat prowess remained unaffected. We scanned the surrounding area in a several kilometer radius, detecting no movement, let alone signs of life. Raziel arrived at the same conclusion. In other words, the only route left to us
Is to go and investigate the government office building.
We nodded at each other. We looked up at the towering building before us, till our necks could bend no more. It resembled a massive antenna. The pebble I kicked in the building's direction disintegrated the moment it reached its walls. Just to be sure, I pulled out the Piketty's sword to summon its beast in an attempt to break through. The result ended up being the same as with the pebble. This puts us in a difficult position.
No good. Not even my field manipulation can work here.
Actually, how did this building collect such a vast amount of magical energies in the first place? Raziel threw a few restless looks at her surroundings, and pointed in a specific direction.
The magic we're sensing here is being drawn in from the direction of Kabushiko.
Is there something else here?
Yes. This vast quantity of magic isn't being harvested from the air. I'd instead say that a powerful angel or demon is supplying it.
Does that mean we might have a master on our hands here?
No. If that were the case, we would have detected signs of life during our earlier search. We may be the only living beings present, but there's something else here capable of supplying magic.
We both attempted, in vain, to come with some sort of explanation. In this case, we need to take matters into our own hands, see things for ourselves. Either way, our only option is to go and investigate. We set off for Kabukicho, and scan our surroundings to be on the safe side but detected no signs of movement or life. Or at least, that should have been the case. Moments later, an unpleasant metallic sound echoed and danced in my mind.
Picking up readings of several moving targets, 173 in total.
I strained my eyes to stare into the distance, spotting a multitude of non-living beings soaring in a direction from 300 meters away, all approaching at high speed. They appear like a flock of metallic birds in the sky. In terms of size, they're no different from us, sporting wings not unlike Raziel's, one notable exception. They were made of metal. In short, angels of steel, a phrase often used metaphorically, but not here. Expressions were frozen, unsettling smiles. As the angels drew closer, you had to understand why their silhouettes appeared strangely warped and twisted. Each appeared to be holding sizable miniguns. Wait a second. Miniguns? These came descending from the skies, raining out a barrage of bullets on us.
Base reinforcement and vector shift. Earth, level 3.
As I activated her space manipulation, I turned on massive chunks of asphalt to the ground, sending whirling circles until they formed a protective wall before our very eyes. Mere seconds later, a barrage of 30mm minigun rounds assaulted at the surface. The magically striking wall was ripped into tiny shreds of cheap plywood. I gave us time to momentarily slip out of the angel's field of vision. I pointed to the sky, then Raziel pointing at the ground, and put a quick series of instructions. In other words, we'd be fighting in the air while she would do the same to the ground. A simple yet appropriate plan, knowing that it was put into motion among Raziel nodded in approval. Brandishing the naked steel of Piketty's sword, I leapt towards the clouds, and chose to summon the beast of wrath. As their flames of wrath shot out from the tip of the blade, enveloping several steel angels, metallic monsters, the flock counting almost 200, except their losses with restrained composure. On the world of these angels. Through a cursory glance at the following angels, finding what appeared to be complex machinery through their open wounds. It's already come as a surprise, at the very least. They did not appear to be ordinary angels. I never planned on holding back to begin with, but this revelation nonetheless put me at ease. I changed my flight path. I went in a foolish strategy of a head-on assault by continuing to soar at the speed of sound to avoid the incoming barrage of bullets. Enjoy the protection of airtight magic, most likely preventing me from dying instantly, aiming their bullets. Whether or not I could continue to withstand a perpetual onslaught of over 100 angels, now that was an entirely different story. In fact, I would prefer to avoid taking any damage at all. In the best case scenario, a breakthrough here completely unscathed. I summoned a golden sloth. As the incantation neared its end, a veil of molten gold spread out against the canvas of the sky. The angels' attempt at evading it all proved fruitless. The golden sloth rained down up over half the angels, both sticking to and corroding all it touched. Mechanical wings that kept them above the clouds began to corrode away one after another. Rather than wings, the angels plummeted to the ground, leaving only a few stragglers behind. Mechanical monsters considered me with hesitant confusion. However, the battle had already begun, no intention of ever holding back, neither I nor Raziel. Raziel beam of light shot out from the ground below, aiming to take down her foes, drawing the panicked angel's attention. Raziel glanced up, gazed up at them with utmost composure, her features betraying only a slight hint of anger. I could hardly blame her for it. These monsters imitate her noble race. One by one, mechanical angels fell victim to her attacks. They were hardly weaklings, but their power seemed to match up to someone like Uriel or Abdiel. The biggest advantage, however, were their sheer numbers.
Additional non-living aerial targets detected. 50 in total.
Damn. There are more of them? The more we cut down their numbers to a mere 50, another 50 arrive as reinforcements.
Sentinel, I believe there's a connection between these angels and the source of magic we've been investigating.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Couldn't you both invade as well as deflect and cut down the angel's bullets with the Piketty's sword?
We should head there. At this rate, I won't be able to hold out here any longer. I'm on my way to you now.
Raziel took to the skies, drawing a barrage of gunfire away. However, I swiftly summoned the beast of gluttony to serve as a decoy. Raziel and I soared through the skies of Shinjuku at a low altitude, speeding towards the source of tremendous outpour of magic. Raziel gave her forehead a light tap.
As I expected, not even the slightest sign of life.
Are these angels really machines? She nodded.
It could be the handiwork of someone from an alternate world who ended up exploiting cutting-edge technology for their own needs.
Exploiting technology, huh? In that case, it has been the handiwork of someone like Samael, the Serpent of Death. How she left behind these machines that were still operational? No, that made no sense whatsoever. better abandon this amount of speculation. He carried on, sometimes flying to abandoned shops and leaving through the back entrance, but other times blowing holes in the walls of buildings, going to exit through the front gates. Eventually, he made it to the source of the magical outpouring.
I cannot believe this.
We were both in shock, and at last lost for words. 4 Master Angels. Architectos Michael, the head of all angels, the one whose very name begs the question, who is like God? Gabriel, his name meaning, God is my strength, the angel who wielded a flaming sword and awarded mankind the blade Durandal, famed for spreading word of Christ's birth to many and all. Raphael, mankind's guardian angel who commanded illness and injury, whose name carried the phrase, God heals. Finally, the angel of divine punishment, Uriel, the flame of God. All 4 are peerless in their own regard, but each of them went missing from the divine calamity. Only Michael was said to have left behind traces of his existence. As for the other 3, that hadn't been heard from at all. Uriel finally showed himself in front of us and had completely succumbed to madness. As such, I imagined the other 2 must have suffered similar fates. I was wrong. In fact, madness might have been a kinder fate.
Gabriel. Raphael.
2 angels were bound to a pillar, their visage resembling that of the well-known Japanese monster, two-faced Sukuna. In terms of sheer size, the tower above was like a pair of giants. Bow may have been the most apt expression to use, though, the string serving as the pair's shackles pierced their hands, constraining the whole of their bodies. The angels' bodies were covered in steel, their massive hull located on Raphael's swollen body. Raphael and Gabriel were both dead, or at least appeared that way, and no way of making sure. Perhaps they were simply frozen in place, unable to lift even a finger due to the vast amount of magic that was being absorbed from them.
Either way, we need to put a stop to this.
Can you?
I have no choice but to try.
Very well. In the meantime, I'll take care of our pursuers. I turn my back on Raziel, ready to protect the both. Ready to protect the both of us, while she busied herself with trying to release the 2 angels, who would meet the mechanical ones in battle. In this situation, I could not make use of my raison d'etre, that is, the universal machine deity of time. The power exists to beat overwhelming odds, not crush those weaker than myself. As such was not suited to combat the kind of cannonball that I faced here, a sort of enemy that relied on sheer numbers. Each new mechanical angel slain, a new one emerged from the belly of the twin angels. The onslaught of bullets rained down on us like a relentless downpour. I devoted all my attention to countering the endless waves of foes swarming my way. In the meantime, Raziel chanted a ritual prayer of sorts with her hand placed on the body of the 2 angels. I couldn't tell whether she was trying to revive the angels or simply put a stop to the mechanism that bound them in place. No choice but to have faith in Raziel. However, I knew next to nothing about her. The thought gripped my heart for a brief second. No, that was not true. I knew her well. I shot down a suggestion in my inner voice, forcefully suppressing the surge of anxiety and doubt welling within my heart as I launched into a discussion of sorts. Instead of falling dead, why did Uriel wish to see her dead at all costs? Secrets lurked in her lost memories. It was written in the Sefer Raziel's Book of Heavens. I couldn't answer none of those questions. You're narrating now.
Memories were just that. Memories. Hear me, my lost memories. Heed my call and answer my prayers. What exactly have I done?
Raziel! Raziel!
I heard a gentle voice calling out to me. What business could they have with me, who wandered heaven and earth alike in search of a book? I found your book. Was that true? So why had it eluded me until now? Your book was in the possession of the dead souls of hell. Lies. All lies. I don't believe it. Only the purest and most virtuous of mortals were allowed to lay their hands on my book. I know not who you are, but show yourself.
Long time no see, Raziel. Still looking for that book of yours?
The angel of venom and death, Samael. You certainly have some nerve to talk to me here, being the exiled turncloak that you are. Noticing my alarm, Samael threw her arms up.
Look, I surrender! I'm not here to fight you! Tell me, Raziel, does that book of yours contain all your knowledge?
Yes, but what of it?
And did you include knowledge you yourself lacked?
I fell silent. True to my name, the secrets of God, I included all the divine secrets privy only to the Lord when penning that book. However, only I could understand its encryption. As for the key words required to unravel it, I forcefully erased them from my memories. I couldn't tell what made me do that back then, but looking back on it now, I believed I had done the right thing. That was my raison d'etre, my reason for being, a power fierce enough to encroach upon reality. There existed who even I wished to seal away.
Ah, so you did write it down.
Keeping silent was a foolish choice, yet I had no option but to hold my tongue.
Don't you want your book back?
I do, and I want you to hand over.
Sorry to burst your bubble, but I don't have it. I just told you, remember? It's fallen to the depths of hell.
Then I stopped myself from recommending a trip to hell. Going to hell would mean becoming a fallen angel. Still, there had been precedent for angels visiting hell on official business. However, the search was an endlessly personal matter. It would never be approved.
Relax, just come with me. If you can't go to hell, we can still meet up at purgatory.
Purgatory?
A place once used to purify the sins of the wicked. No one's gonna question an angel being there, let alone consider it a sin.
Is that truly so? Taking off to a place like that without prior consent, wouldn't that in itself be a sin? In the end, though, I accepted Eric's suggestion. Tempted by Samael's honeyed words, I set out towards my new objective. According to Samael, she would wait for me at the top of the hill, serving as purgatory.
Oh, you came. Welcome, Raziel.
And I turned around to face both of them. I found myself frozen in place. My memories, please give me time and let me think. The reason I froze in place, a being who had no business showing up in a place like that. Just who was it exactly? whose presence startled me to that extent.
Will you read this book for me? Read it!
What was I forced to do? What was I forced to read?
Well now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to educate you on...
I found my consciousness dragged back to reality once more. I saw Tenduo Setsuna fighting back a swarm of steel angels behind me, showing no compassion for his mechanical foes. Gabriel and Raphael. Both their appearance, as well as the sensation I experienced upon touching them, made me realize that both of them were the real thing. They were not dead, though not alive either. They drifted vaguely between the boundaries of the two. Existing as this grotesque, peculiar thing, yet the magic they released was certainly no imitation. They were powerful enough angels to be able to release vast amounts of magic energy simply by existing. In other words, turning them into this hideous object would effectively grant the protective barrier of that building an infinite supply of magic. Whose twisted mind could have hatched up such a plan? Either way, we needed to free them. Initiating structural analysis. Structural ID code appended. A838861, alias AAM. Access denied. Location isolation program. Initializing self-replicating worm to disable the isolation program. I would transform the very myth they exuded into something resembling a computer virus to establish a link. Scanning emotional structure and personality data. No files found. They were all deleted? In other words, Gabriel and Raphael could be survived. They were no more than mere objects now, still alive, but as good as dead. I had expected this outcome, but it still pained me deeply. Magical emission order detected. Overriding order, changing it to suspension. The moment I did that, I felt my consciousness drift away. I was separated from reality and thrown into the depths of their memories. It would appear that any tampering with the magical emission settings would result in said person to be recognized as an intruder, their consciousness spirited away. This place is... Having become a dimly glowing astral body, I found myself gently drifting along in an infinite stream of blue. And moments later, I ended up arriving at a place all too familiar to me. The Grand Assembly Hall of Heaven. A spacious assembly hall once filled with the booming echoes of angels fervently discussing the words of the Lord, now fell into complete silence. Anyone? 2 angels responded to my yell. Gabriel and Raphael.
Stand here to address the one transferred to this memory.
The right of viewing this memory is granted only to the one who suspended the magical emission. However, we do not know who you are.
The mission halted. Your paralysis stopped you. To avoid exploitation of our bodies, we enter a state of complete suspension. once the memory reconstruction had terminated.
You may head for heaven. We cannot tell you what may witness once there, or what choices you would make.
However, your soul is not completely bereft of compassion. You shall listen to our one request.
The disaster we call the divine calamity originated with the distinguished angel known as the Secret of God, Raziel. A sensation akin to falling headfirst to Tartarus overcame me.
Hear us out, O kind soul. Spare the angels any further bloodshed, and kill Raziel.
What are you talking about? Gabriel, why? Why? We hold no grudge against her. However, her continued existence may very well lead to further disaster. You're wrong, Raphael. I had no idea what you're talking about. I didn't cause any of this. I lashed out at the pair, completely forgetting the fact that they were only memory fragments, not the real angels. I howled at them in dismay, forgetting all pride and dignity.
Hear us out, O kind soul. Spare the angels any further bloodshed.
And kill Raziel, the culprit behind the divine calamity who dared reveal God's secrets. Despite being pulled back to the real world, I continued to scream, unable to let go of the memory. Tell me, please tell me, what have I done? How did I cause the divine calamity? I'm begging you. Please, tell me. Gabriel and Raphael only met my pleas with a pair of silent gazes. It had to be a lie. It couldn't be true. I would never do anything like that. But then, why did I lose my memories? Why couldn't I remember a single thing about what happened during the calamity? Because I did not wish to remember it? I suppressed the painful memories of what I had done, what my actions led to. I erased them. No, I couldn't have. After all, such an emotion would run counter to my raison d'etre of recording. I instead sealed them away in the very depths of my own heart. However, in order to live, I needed to record. Somewhere deep in my soul, I still continued to yearn for it. Unable to bear the thought of lacking memories, I struggled desperately to reclaim them. I feared it, dreaded it. I wished to flee from it, to avert my gaze, to seek help. But at the same time, I wished to see it, remember it, and record it. The strong desire of wanting to record my sealed memories most likely warped my heart. Moments before my consciousness returned to reality, I caught a brief glimpse of myself reflected in a mirror. No! And the face I beheld into a at the act of recording. A devilish smile was plastered on its face. Every single one of the mechanical angel.
Good question. Maybe it's still you, I think.
Mm, nope, that's you, hun.
Okay. Every single one of the mechanical angels have been fighting frozen in place in a blink of an eye. A few seconds of convulsing in one place, each one that still soared in the skies plummeted to the earth below. Also noticed that the constant emission of magical energy had come to a halt. Raziel must have been successful. I turned around and saw Raziel collapse onto her knees, her vacant gaze fixed on the object before her. Raziel! No response. I called to her again, this time causing her to turn around and look at me in the eye.
Satsuna.
What happened? Before I could finish the sentence, Raziel leapt into my arms, calling my name in a trembling voice. Raziel?
Satsuna. I'm so afraid. So afraid.
Afraid? I brought this on all of a sudden.
Tell me, what have I done? Did I cause the fall of paradise? Did I exile everyone to Tokyo Babel?
Raziel. I hadn't a faintest clue what Raziel meant. Once I managed to calm her down, I decided to inquire further. In brief, disjointed bursts of words, Raziel revealed all she had learned upon entering that memory fragment of the object that once was Gabrielle and Raphael. Go ahead.
Kill Raziel. Am I someone to be hunted down? The culprit behind the divine calamity? I don't know. This is all too much for me.
She looked up at me, teary-eyed, waiting for an answer. It'd be easy to say I could console her, far more difficult to actually do it. However, I still had a duty to dry her tears. Raziel, I know what you did in the past. You most likely couldn't understand it, but this much I can say. I'll stay by your side for as long as you want me to.
You will?
Her voice came out as a faint whisper, nearly melting into the air. I will. I swear I will. So, please, don't cry.
You swear?
Rubbing her eyes clean of tears, she once again posed a question to me. I do.
And what will you swear it on?
Might be appropriate in a situation like this. Swear on the name of God, or the lives of my parents? Neither would work, I felt. God was nowhere to be found, nor did I have parents to call my own. And if I did, I want to be a single mother. On a son.
The sun?
I swear it, on the stars, the moon, and the skies above. Oh, I felt rather, embarrassing, if I did say so myself. I didn't have anything else to swear on, you see? Raziel smiled as she let her forehead rest against mine. I feel your skull pressing against mine. A thin layer of skin.
This is a bit weird. I wish you would have said something romantic. The way people do in some of my books.
She let out a brief chuckle. And this isn't romantic?
Not one bit.
I didn't expect her to go that far. I mean, I had some confidence in myself, at least. Seeing my expression turn sour when I made her smile broaden. Raziel, I want to reclaim your memories.
But
It might be hard for you. Unimaginably terrifying, in fact. But I think it's still better than having them perish completely.
I feel that way too. No matter what my memories may hold, a sin must be punished accordingly.
I'll be at your side to shoulder the same punishment. I want to be there for you, both hardship and joy.
Thank you, Sensei. Even if those words were a lie, they made me happy. More so than you think.
It was no lie. I will stay by her side no matter what.
Thanks. Let us go then to heaven, to face my sins.
We left Kabukicho and soared towards the rooftop of the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building. We encountered no obstacles, no enemies. The flow of magic halted, a calm silence fell upon the entirety of the 7th stratum. We landed the helipad. Neither me nor Raziel had to search for anything, for our objective appeared magically before our very eyes the moment our feet touched the ground.
Jacob's ladder.
Incredible. Sheer majesty of lit left me in complete awe. A stairwell, bright as the stars, steps climbing far into distance, piercing the clouds. As then, beyond the boundaries of Tokyo Babel, stood the gates of heaven. The stairwell proved wide enough for us to walk side by side. Raziel cast a terrified gaze at the steps below. Let's go, Raziel. You'll reclaim your memories. Your memories of divine calamity, memories of the sin she had committed. Nonetheless, she needed them back.
Okay, let's go.
We began a long ascent up Jacob's ladder. When we took our first steps, we nearly felt separated from the Tokyo Babel I had come to call my home. The canvas of the heavens stretched far and wide above the stairwell, the steps leading over upwards in a straight line. For some reason, flying never occurred to me. I didn't feel like I could have done it, even if I did. I continued onwards at a leisurely pace, taking one firm step after another. Brightly shining sun above showed no sign of movement. I was going to keep track of time through my internal clock, but eventually forgot about it. A very constant time had seemingly been erased here. I felt no fatigue as we pressed on, nor did we ever begin to sweat. Not even boredom would rear its ugly head. Only one thing mattered: climbing the stairwell before us, the sole action. Filled my heart with pure bliss. I forced myself to stop, prompting Raziel, who had ascended a stair further than me, to turn around and look back at me with confusion. As we were still holding hands, she could advance no further like this.
What's wrong?
Pull out the Piketty sword from her pocket dimension, took a firm hold of the sharp end of the blade, and squeezed with all the strength I could muster. I forcefully amplified my senses, causing myself to experience a particularly acute jolt of pain. This served to distract my mind from the wicked illusion of bliss that assailed me a moment before. The way to heaven had to be filled with hardship, a journey bereft of joy, for a man must ascend as he shoulders the heavy burden of his cross. I balled my wounded hand to her fist, forcibly preventing the blood from coagulating. This was the pain of mankind, the very pain that made us human. I continued to ascend, taking step after step, discarding all but the pain and warmth of her palm and mine. The mental contamination had grown increasingly severe, forcing me to eventually discard even my past memories of Tokyo Babel. My training session with Belial, the first time I first met Samael and Astaroth, the day I met Lilith and Surami, all the time we spent together. I deemed each memory redundant, discarding them without hesitation. A sigh of relief as the blank region of my mind expanded once again. All my memories, save for those of Raziel, were reduced to mere data profiles. As I continued to climb the stairwell, I found myself uttering a phrase that had never left my lips before. think I'm in love with you. Crippling anxiety ravaged my heart, coupled with the precise fear that eventually the ever-advancing mental contamination would erase even Raziel from my mind. Which is why I thought I should say the words while I still had a chance.
I knew.
A faint smile crept into her lips. It made it seem like I was trying to act mature. I love how beautiful your hair is.
Mm-hmm.
I love your eyes too.
Mm-hmm.
I love her ring with your voice.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way you read your books, the way you sleep, and the way you smile when tasting something delicious. I love them all.
Mm-hmm.
I love your heart and soul. I realize this might sound like an all talk.
It doesn't. Thank you.
Either way, I love everything about you. And I want to convey these feelings while I still could.
While you still could?
Exactly. Raziel's expression shifted to one of complete astonishment. She must have realized what I was trying to say.
Satsuna, don't tell me you...
Kagutsu Surumi, Lilith, Astaroth, Kamiel, Belial. All gone without a trace. How we spent our time together, how their words might have moved my heart. I could remember nothing of it.
I'm sorry.
Raziel spoke up again, her tone coated in sadness. I tried as best as I could to shelter my emotions when I finally responded. This isn't your fault, Raziel. It's bound to happen, eventually. In order to prevent madness from claiming my mind, to protect the one I held most dear, there had to be a price to pay.
Even still, I'm sorry.
Raziel's voice fell to a whisper, a very tone pregnant with regret. Did she feel that way because this all pertained to her lost memories? We continued to ascend, upwards and upwards and upwards.
We've almost reached the clouds.
Words made it feel like we were close to end. The sun continued to shower us with its light. I could still catch a glimpse of the stars and the moon. The veil of brilliant white clouds blanketed Jacob's ladder. Naturally, I had no choice but to break through, knowing that beyond it lay the sealed gates of heaven. Let's go. Passed through the blanket of clouds. Corrupted feelings lingering in them made the experience both suffocating and terrifying. May you embrace eternal bliss. This resounding prayer permeated the very clouds, incessant, aggravating, unnecessary. And in constant attacks with such sensations, two of us continued onwards. I held my breath for so long, it sounded somewhat awkward when I finally exhaled.
We're here.
And of excitement lingered in Raziel's voice. And I found myself in awe as we beheld the gates of heaven towering above us. However, it lasted a mere heartbeat.
It looks the same. Nothing's changed.
She appeared as somewhat relieved. She was right, and nothing had changed. And how would I explain the ominous feeling creeping up on my heart? In all its splendor and divine majesty, something about the gates felt out of place. Nonetheless, we had to press on. Neither of us had any intention to turn back. First glance, I spotted no keyholes. I suppose we would simply need to push the gates open. I only placed my right hand on the surface. In that very moment, Felt like my entire arm was ready to melt away. My right arm reached into the gate until the elbow. Almost like I had become one with it as I uttered a single word. Open. The gate began to slide open with a heavy creak, and so the door to heaven was liberated, officially completing the mission Lilith had entrusted me with. Where I came next would be driven by my will, mine alone. I wished to stay by Raziel's side as we ventured onwards to reclaim our memories. Let's go. I stepped forward without even waiting for an answer, ready to bear witness to a world showered by light under the gaze of brilliant blue skies. No. What is this? What is this overwhelming terror in this air? Before us stretched a rainbow-colored sky, its rich palette inviting madness to the hearts of all those who gazed upon it. In the distance, a lavish field of green, upon numerous stakes littering the field, roamed not the sinners of the world, but angels. Oh! The moans were not that of anguish and despair, but pure, unmitigated joy. Their bodies pierced through, the entrails naked and exposed, yet they gazed down upon the carnage with expressions of genuine bliss. We stopped at a field of flowers nearby, a young girl and a boy bathing in each other's blood. Have a look at this! The boy held up a smiling, severed head and hurled it in the other's direction. The girl caught it and promptly placed it on the neck of a headless body.
Good. It won't move.
Let's try with your head now.
The young boy immediately decapitated the girl with the hatchet he had been holding. The girl's head, a smile frozen on his lips, tumbled to the ground below. They were massacring each other in the most gruesome ways unimaginable. In that case, should this place be called hell? The problem was, each and every one of them seemed to be enjoying it. Happily drowning in joy, all of them. They might have felt pain but never despair. This was their bliss, their paradise, angels and mortals alike indulging in their own desires, shedding each other's blood without a care in the world. Mortals who accumulated several virtuous deeds had their sins purified and thus earned their place in heaven. So was the angels who were allowed to reside there through the Lord's pardon. They were both at each other's throats now, spilling blood with smiles unfading. In other words, thoughts would only lead to unhappiness. They imagined their future and despaired at the death they saw in it. Here they were now, liberated from its yoke, the minds devoid of reason and no longer able to comprehend death. In such a state, despair would elude them. Pain would transform to ecstasy, dread and despair to unbridled rapture. In short, this was the true face of heaven.
Oh!
The other angels all looked up at Raziel's terrified scream and echoed across the plains.
What's wrong, Raziel?
Come, join our bloodbath.
I love you, Raziel. You can kill me anytime you want.
With a second hesitation, I lifted my sword and mowed down all the maddened angels, lunging at us. I rushed up to Raziel, who had been crouching on the ground, screaming, picked her up, and continued on.
No, it's not my fault. It's not my fault.
No matter where we ran or flew, a flock of angels came after us in pursuit, each of them flashing broad smiles that had bled from several wounds like a group of living dead. I ran, soared as fast as I could, but there were no end to heaven. Its realm stretched infinitely in all directions.
My memories, they hurt. I can't. No. Disruption. Rebooting. No. Error. No. No, no, no. It's not true. This book. No, I can't.
Raziel pried herself free from my embrace, collapsed onto a grassy field, convulsing like she was experiencing a seizure of sorts. I hurried to her side and clutched her hand, intent on calming her down. Raziel!
My book. Ah, yes, my book. It has to be here. My book.
Took a few unsteady steps. Out of my way! I slaughtered every single one of the angels that caught up to us. After trotting through a heap of smiling corpses, I took off in pursuit of Raziel. Eventually, I arrived here. A colossal and majestic building could very well instill fear in its observer.
Ah, that's right. The assembly hall.
Raziel bolted off. I followed. I ran and ran as much as my legs would allow me. Then I saw it.
Ah, I knew it. So it was true. My book was the cause of all of this.
What the? I couldn't find the words. But looking at an entire mountain of corpses, all belonging to angels, this in itself hardly differed from the situation outside, except for one notable exception: their expressions. The angels and mortals we had encountered outside all had expressions of utmost ecstasy and joy. The faces of these angels, on the other hand, were frozen in terror, their expressions violently contorted by anguish and despair. Though we had been spared the stench of decay, the smell of blood in the air was all too prevalent. Raziel.
It's true. That day I had learned something terrible. But who told me? Samael. I remember now. It was Samael who whispered it into my ear.
She gently lifted the book off the nearby desk. It was out of volume to Sefer Raziel, so-called Book of Heavens.
There's one thing mortals possess that angels, demons, and God himself lack. Do you know what it is?
I don't.
It's the concept of eternity.
What do you mean? You didn't know what eternity was? Raziel shook her head.
That's not it. We knew the meaning of the word itself, but we were designed never to consider exactly what that could entail.
She held up her book.
It's written here in the Book of Heavens. It has all the design blueprints for demons, angels, and even God.
Design blueprints. For God? Impossible. Ignore my astonishment. Raziel carried on in a low tone.
And I opened their eyes to the concept of eternity. In other words,
Raziel glanced at the terror-stricken faces of the dead angels and shook her head.
the catalyst of this tragedy was none other than I.
I stared at Raziel in silence, forgetting you to speak for a few seconds.
Raziel, hear me, Raziel, holder of God's secrets. Why have you opened our eyes to this terrible concept? Why did you make us understand its cruel truth?
Because I thought we should know.
Is narrating this to angels, or?
I'll just say it.
Okay,
None of us wanted this knowledge. We lived for eternity, all the while liberated from the very concept of it. But why would you want to remain ignorant? Why should an angel lack knowledge of something that even mortals can comprehend? Answer me, Raziel. Who implanted this theory into your mind? Whose whispers led you to this way of thinking?
Raziel simply cried, pitifully, heart-wrenchingly.
I was never deceived or instigated. I'm not trying to pin the blame on anyone else. I merely believed that we should know, and that was the result.
the angels understood the concept of eternity, as they themselves possessed life eternal, and knowledge drove them to insanity. They were forced to live for eternity. That in itself was maddening truth, a hellish realization. But the concept of eternity, in the matter of today, tomorrow, and yesterday were all the same. However, they came to comprehend what eternal life truly meant. To them, the realization came as nothing less than a curse. We'll live through the downfall of the myriad nations and see the death of entire civilizations, want to remain as mere observers. If the winds of change stir the mortal realm, heaven will remain the same, and the angels' great war with demons have been reduced to a distant memory from aeons past. Every day, hour, minute, and second will be the same, birthing not a thread of change to heaven. Even if a change did occur, it would last no more than a day or so. To never stake their very lives to bring about drastic changes like mortals did. Eternity. A whole eternity. 100 years, 200, 300, or 4. Even if every single mortal in every possible parallel world had forgotten about the angels, they would nonetheless have to continue to exist as observers. Their minds could no longer take it, succumb to madness, yearning for happiness. So they began to sing. So the chorus was born. A wicked ode tempting all to embrace bliss, cast aside knowledge and reason. This melody would penetrate the mind, relentlessly spreading corruption, urging victims to embrace purer bliss. The countless number of angels and mortals slaying each other in never-ending carnage were a result of that. They completely gave themselves to instinct, letting it degrade them to nothing more than savage beasts.
What am I supposed to do now? How can I atone for what I've done? Where could I possibly go?
The angels began closing in on us. They were eternal. No matter how much blood was shed, as long as they embraced their happiness, they would never die. Heaven was a place where all that could be made possible. Like the angels and demons of Tokyo Babel, they struggled to survive each and every day. The residents of heaven were the chosen few. We were cornered, and nowhere to run. For a moment, my mind's eye imagining what could await us. My mind's yielding to madness and the pain of an agonizing death. I wished to invoke my raison d'etre, to trample the overwhelming odds towering before us. It was all in vain, just like with the mechanical angels. They were entirely too weak. It mattered little how I attacked them or what weapon I brandished. It would perish in mere seconds. They possessed two advantages of note. One would be their madness, which prevented them from even considering their own lives, and, of course, the fact that they possessed eternal life. As they were weaklings, I could not prevail over them. Might be able to defeat a boss of sorts. Would killing God solve anything, though? I feeling that answer would be no. They all but had one common objective, one they pursued in complete unison. They would kill, murder, massacre. If they were reduced to the atomic level, they would simply come back to life and continue their bloody work. So what was I supposed to do? How could I defeat them, god damn it?
It's fine. I'm so tired of this all. It may very well be better to just let myself be killed and my head smashed in as I laugh and revel in madness.
Raziel walked up in front of me, still clutching the book in her embrace. Raziel! She did not turn around to face me. Instead, she spoke up, her voice a mere whisper.
Setsuna, you have to flee. It doesn't matter where. Just run.
She had committed a sin, one she could never atone for.
I'm so sorry.
She walked in front of a group of smiling angels, drawing ever closer. She could already see what would happen in just a few seconds. Be mercilessly impaired. Her mind broken beyond repair, lost in the endless cycle of bloodshed that was heaven. Or perhaps if fate had a different idea of mind, she would reign over one of Tokyo's Babel strata as a master, killing innocents until a pilgrim finally brought her down. No matter the outcome, the future held only tragedy. That's what Raziel herself desired. when I was standing her way. I felt surprised by my own thoughts. Yet, how could a man not desire the happiness of the angel he loved? That was the answer I finally understood. In order to atone for her sins, she had to allow madness to befoul her soul to its very core. This was her chance. I see clearly now. I see. No! Grabbing Raziel's shoulder, I forcibly pushed myself in front of her as she stared at me in silent shock. I turned towards her, smiling. I'll die with you. I'll face madness at your side. I won't let you die alone. For the first time in my life, I flashed an uncharacteristically broad smile. Figured might as well. The final piece of carefree optimism flashed through my mind right before a dozen blades pierced my flesh.
Satsuna. No, this can't be. Satsuna.
I was impaled alive. Sharp steel bit into my neck and abdomen, my arms and legs, waist and back. Oh, now? Death came all too easily, and invited unwillingly, without resistance. A lesson I was going to learn in my own skin soon enough. I felt no physical pain, but my heart ached with dread. Thinking what would become of me, what would be changed, what Raziel would be reduced to. Fatalistic thoughts kept speeding through my mind as I couldn't help but lament my situation. Yet, with no other way to redemption, only this. Perhaps there once was. Perhaps we simply reaped what we had sown, by coming this far on a road mistaken.
Forgive me.
For some reason, the angels around us would not move any closer. Raziel, it's fine. You're the same way. I'm just as exhausted as you are. This world's doomed.
No, I don't care if I die. I would willingly throw myself into the jaws of oblivion, but I will not have you take the fall with me.
This was not the time to be selfish. You died, I would too. Despite my insistence, Raziel kept yelling in protest, prompting me to cup her cheeks in my palm. Raziel, selfish of you to throw your life away by preventing me from doing the same. With my consciousness drifting, I would die, succumb to insanity, die again and live as an eternal prisoner to that never-ending cycle. Terror and fear had long since departed my heart, leaving only a surge of joy in their wake. The torrent of unstoppable bliss. How wonderful, how dazzling its light was. I thought there was no happier man alive. So laugh. Look at how wonderful this all is. Say goodbye to tears and smile. God damn it. My ability to reason began to fail. My ability to form coherent sentences. I saw the colors, feeling my vision twist and shift. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, cyan, and violet. Almost like a rainbow. Don't laugh. Once you do, there's no turning back. And that final fleeting attempt at resistance was washed clean away by a feeling of terrifying, overwhelming euphoria. Eroding all the rational, cognitive capabilities that make man what he is. This is getting pretty bad. The phrase itself felt redundant at this point, yet it would be my final words. But you.
Why did I wish to return to heaven? Only regret remained in my heart. I wished to find my book, hoping that if I did, things would work out. I may have wandered to the realm of mortals, but in the end, heaven would be my only home. And such I wanted to return. I wanted things to be the way they used to be. The memories that should have remained sealed cried out in protest. You were the one who orchestrated its downfall. This is all your fault. And you want to return? Enough with the jests. inner voice had it right. Yet it whispers never reached my ears. And so with my sins forgiven and guilty conscience discarded, I ended up struggling against the tide of a cruel fate, believing myself to be just another victim of this tragedy. That is in itself a sin most grave, and I would soon receive my just punishment for it. Setsuna, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I know what I did was wrong. I caused all this. It is my responsibility to bear. He, on the other hand, played no part in it. Not even the slightest. So please spare him. Spare him madness and death. My pleas fell on deaf ears. After all, those ears belonged to a god that was most likely too busy wallowing in false bliss somewhere at the edge of heaven. I had no other way to atone for my sins. No. I no longer care about atonement. I want to save him. I want to save Setsuna. I had already found the solution. It was a terrible sin, the kind an angel would never even dare think about. One would sooner wish to have been part of Lucifer's uprising than commit a sin this grave. Yet its solution came to me as a bolt of inspiration, and I knew it would help me put an end to all of this. Even I found the method utterly despicable. My raison d'etre is to record everything. Not a single speck of dust in this universe falls outside scope. I pushed myself erect, casting aside all suicidal thoughts in the blink of an eye. Through a shockwave of concentrated magic, I sent the smiling angels flying. All I needed was 3 minutes. Until now, I felt content with that. I desired no more, but no longer. We crave for what lies beyond. Sin and punishment, redemption and atonement. To hell with them all. With the earth and heavens together at last, the Sefer Raziel's encryption would be decoded. Release. Sefer Raziel. My one and only tome. Created with papyrus and sheepskin, its words writ with my very own lifeblood, would be revealed to the world. Its size dwarfed that of a mere book, rather resembling a scale structure of sorts. From the Big Bang and the very dawn of creation, my book records all data in the cosmos. My letters encompass countries. My letters encompass life. The whole world rests upon my pages. My book possessed a function not even I could remember. It acted as an enormous database server. It could even be capable of taking one of the many parallel worlds, then recreating it as an image. No, a mere image would not do. I need more than an image, more than sounds, smell, texture, and aroma. I need everything, the complete recreation of the entire world. I spared not a single drop of magic, releasing all I could potentially muster in order to activate the Sefer Raziel. The world was being created anew, overriding a part of heaven. For this was my power, my raison d'etre. The warm rays of the sun, the gentle breeze to caress the skin. I completely and thoroughly recreated all such things in order to erode and thus create the world anew. All I needed was Setsuna at my side. Nothing else. I had no more need for painful memories. I had no need for the angels, nor any friends I held dear. As I let my wish unfold, the very realm of heaven began to be overwritten and painted anew. A colossal outburst of energy akin to a nuclear explosion eradicated all the angels from existence. Even if they were immortal and unaging, regardless of how powerful they were. With the world and its very laws being overridden, they had but one fate: to disappear. My power had painted heaven anew, destroying the old in the process, although my companions would no longer be able to reclaim heaven as they had planned. They would not fall victim to madness at Tokyo Babel either. One could say the world had just been saved from rumination, although that might have been a touch too arrogant a way to phrase it. I merely created out of my own wish, did what I wanted, nothing more, nothing less. The ultimate sin and the ultimate punishment. Defying atonement and redemption, I simply continue to exist, surrounded by happiness and bliss.
You think this is you, or
Maybe.
go for it?
With my body still weary from drowsiness, I felt the pleasant scent of wood filling my nostrils. That might be you, actually.
All right. The gentle warm air caressing my skin must have been the result of me sitting near the window.
Setsuna,
My eyelids flickered open at the sound of a girl's voice sitting in front of me with her hand placed on my shoulder. Is it morning?
afternoon, actually.
She replied in a tone, hinting at surprise. Looking out the window and seeing the landscape tinted in vivid orange, I knew she was right. So, good morning.
Good morning, Setsuna.
The moment she uttered my name, my lips involuntarily curled into a smile. Oh? What was she called again? More importantly than that, though, where was I? What have I been doing?
Don't let it bother you.
A certain warmth tinted the girl's voice, kindness and love permeating every syllable.
Let's just stay here and enjoy the atmosphere.
Just as I was about to speak up in protest, she looked out the window with a melancholic expression I would never forget.
Say, can I kiss you?
Yeah. The swiftness of my reply made her eyes widen in surprise.
I expected you to be more flustered.
Although the girl seemed somewhat disappointed by my response, she nonetheless closed her eyes and presented her lips. I softly put my lips on hers, feeling a softness, and its warmth filled me. For some reason, I wasn't opposed to kissing this girl one bit. How long are we supposed to stay like this? At 2 long minutes, our lips finally parted. Possibly because I held my breath during that second half of our kiss. I was honestly starting to feel a bit dizzy.
It was entirely too long for comfort.
I didn't know when to stop, though.
Oh. Was that your first kiss just now?
Possibly. I wasn't sure why that mattered, though.
I'm sort of hurt that's all you have to say.
That didn't help me much.
Ah, by the way, do you remember my name?
There's a certain timidness to the girl as she asked the question. Her name. Her name meant a lot to me. But I didn't feel it mattered at all right now. What did matter is that we were together. I don't remember. Could you tell me?
My name is...
She told me her name. What both beautiful and fitting. We spent the next few hours discussing a variety of topics: the sky and its brightest stars, the sun, the moon, and people in general. It was sweet, idle chatter without importance. I suppose it's about time we headed home. As I rose to leave my seat, her expression sank.
Where to?
Wait, where? Is my home again? Well, whatever. I'll figure it out when I leave campus.
Could we chat a bit more?
Now? I really like you, but I need to go home.
Okay.
As I stood up and headed straight for the exit. By the way, I just remembered something. I decided to call out to her. The girl gazed at me from a seat with a pair of bright blue eyes.
Yes?
I just remembered something. I really do love you.
I see. Thank you. That makes me happy to hear that.
You didn't seem all that happy, though. Upon noticing the sadness in my gaze, the girl flushed red while fervently shaking her palms in protest.
Sorry, I'm just not good with expressing my feelings. I really am happy. Really, seriously. Please believe me.
I do. I'm glad to hear it. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. As I said that, she let out a sigh of relief.
Yeah. See you tomorrow, Satsuna.
Bid me goodbye with a warm smile. Time to head home then. Then have dinner, do my homework, go to sleep, and come back here. Did that, could meet her again. Being almost intoxicated, began to make my way home. The vision cut to a location, almost like I was in some movie. I continued onwards with short, unsteady steps, surrounded by scenery that looked almost like an artificial backdrop. I need to go home. Once I made conscious effort to form the words, I'd forgotten where I was going in the first place. My consciousness grew more unsteady by the second. Never had to differentiate between dream and reality in the first place. In fact, did reality truly exist at all? Couldn't tell. Not someone like me. There's only one thing I knew for certain, that she was someone I held dear. Someone I kept that in mind. I suppose I could live without too many worries. Spending each day in idle tranquility. Could meet her again, come tomorrow. We talk some more. That alone would satisfy me.
As Tenjo Satsuna exited the deserted classroom, I turned my gaze back to the scenery beyond the window. Only he and I existed in this world, its rules imperfect and unfinished. For instance, there was no morning, noon, or evening here. The scarlet of dusk reigned supreme, vivid and red like a messenger of this world's demise. Additionally, the world itself was exceedingly confined. Beyond the boundaries of this classroom, the environment appeared vague and undefined, like the stage and props for a cheap drama. The same applied to the flow and perception of time, broken beyond repair everywhere outside this one classroom. In mere seconds, Tenro Satsuna would slide the door open and enter once again. He would fall asleep at his desk and wake up within a handful of minutes. Then the two of us would talk, followed by a kiss. To me, it was a moment of eternal bliss, but at the same time, the end of my little farce. I had repeated that same scenario over 1,000,000 times now, and every time his lips touched mine, I would feel content and fulfilled. I was happy with it, this makeshift eternity. To have it eventually fill me with tedium was something I dreaded beyond words. Yet I felt content with the way things were now. To chat with him about things of little consequence, followed by a short kiss. That alone would grant me everlasting happiness. Despite all that, I couldn't help but wonder, would it have been better for us all to die that day? To allow madness to claim our minds? The memories I had of the time before this world had become blurry. Even the emotions that stormed within my heart that then felt but a distant thing now. The Tendro Satsuna of this world was no different from a glass mannequin, prone to shattering at the slightest of impacts. In fact, the same could be said of this entire universe, its every atom frail as a house of cards. Which is why I kept my thoughts and actions restrained, maintaining this deception for his sake alone, to prevent him from buckling under despair, to make him never feel this eternity. I would be lying if I said I had never felt conflicted. In every single one of our meetings added up more to my sins, mine would surpass even the weight of the cosmos. Ah, and yet, such feelings of guilt.
Hi.
Hello, Satsuna. Felt as insignificant as a speck of dust in the wind every time he came to meet me. He seated himself at his desk, inclining his head in confusion.
Do we know each other by any chance? We met somewhere before? Oh, wait, that's a silly question. I mean, we're classmates.
I nodded. I was your classmate, your friend, and someone who wished to be your lover. That last wish of mine could only be granted in this awkward way, though. Still, I felt content enough with it.
I feel sleepy.
I see. Why don't we chat more once you wake up?
Sure. Why not?
Satsuna began to doze off, letting his upper body rest atop the desk as I gazed untiringly at his sleeping face. Each day with him was tranquil like a dream, As long as I had this, I needed nothing else, not even my book. Deciding now would be a good time to wake him, I gave Setsuna's shoulder a little shake. He let out a drowsy groan as his eyelids slowly opened, glancing up at me with a blank stare. I parted my lips to utter his name, pouring a torrent of emotions into the word. Setsuna. Well then, let our, oh my god, 1,013,876th meeting begin.